Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a deep dive on some of the more powerful features of Seismic so you can get the most out of our plugin, and we're also going to be going over a few frequently asked questions that you guys have been emailing us about, so let's get into it. First, let's listen to Seismic on startup so you can see what we're working with right off the bat. All right, so the first thing we're going to be looking at is on the left side of the amp at the contour section. A lot of you have been emailing us and asking if the contour is pre-amp or post-amp, and it is indeed post-amp, but pre-cab. One way to think about the contour section is it's just another way to musically shape the amp. So let's mess around with this and really lean into it so you can hear what everything is doing. The low is set to around 50 hertz. The mid is set to around 600 hertz, and the high is set to around 3K. You could really hear how each section of the contour was enhancing the frequencies that I described earlier. You can think of these knobs under each section as just standard volume knobs. The real magic is whenever you engage each contour button, so just keep that in mind. So we've already talked about the crossover point section in the Seismic overview video, and if you haven't checked that out, you can click the link below to view it. This is just selecting your points for your low, mids, and highs. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Quake knob. The Quake knob is adding sub-harmonics to the low end, so the more you push into this, the more low-end energy you're going to get. So let's go ahead and drive this all the way up so you can see what I'm talking about. You can hear how that adds a lot of weight to the low end. Let's hear it in the context of the mix real quick with Quake turned all the way up to 10. That adds a lot of weight to that low end sub area that we love. Next, let's move over to the main amp section and let's talk about how we can use the DI function along with the multi-band compression we have built in Seismic to get a nice clean low end. As you can see, I've changed every amp band to DI just so we can hear full spectrum what it's doing. So let's go ahead and play this. You can hear how super clean and clear that is on the low end. So whenever we introduce the other amps, or if we want to blend a higher gain amp into that, it's not going to blow out our speakers. It's going to be nice and even. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's hear it in the mix. All right, moving on to the enhance knob. A lot of you have been emailing us and asking us what exactly this is. What the enhance knob does is it applies a subtle preamp saturation with an EQ curve. So as I flip through these in solo, you'll hear how each one affects the signal differently. That kind of cuts the mids. Slight mid bump, little high end. It's even more drastic in 4. You can really play around with the enhance knob and the EQ section above it to really get creative with your tone shaping. Let's try to dial something in real quick. See, without the enhance knob, whenever it's off, you get a lot of that stringy type of high end I don't really like. But whenever you turn it to curve 1, it cuts some of that out, and then you can boost it back in a more natural way. Let's see how that sounds in the mix. That sounds awesome. So now that we've really explored more of the features of the main amp, let's kind of flip through the amps and turn these gain knobs and kind of show you all what each amp is doing across the full spectrum. So let's change everything to amp 1 and let's just play around with it a little bit. So amp 1 is definitely a clean amp. Let's go to amp 2. Amp 2 is kind of a more classic bass tone, especially in the high end. It's very pleasing. We'll go to amp 3 for your more modern distorted tone. A lot of you guys are familiar with this one. Right away, immediate clank. My personal favorite combo of these 3 is amp 1 for your low end to keep it clean, maybe a little bit of this multi-band compression to keep the low end in check, amp 3 for the mids because I like the mid clank that it provides, and then amp 2 for the highs. Let's see how those sound together and blend them in. All right, let's hear that in the mix. And that's going over the whole main amplifier section of Seismic. I hope this video kind of showed everyone more about the contour knob options, the enhance knob, and answered any questions you might have had, as well as how easy it is to dial in a mixed ready tone with Seismic. If this video helped you, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and we'll be sure to answer. Thanks for watching and happy songwriting.